Hi there, everyone. We're so excited to get started this morning with our Community Grants 2021 webinar. We're just going to give it another minute or two to give everyone a chance to join. So I'm seeing our first question come in. Will the PowerPoint slides be available? And yes, so we are recording. So after after we finish the webinar, we're going to be putting it up live on our, we're going to be putting up the recording on our website. So definitely feel free to go back and check it out there. All right, so we'll just give one more minute for everybody to get joined. All right, so I think we're a couple minutes past, so I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so my name is Chelsea Clark. I'm Programs Associate here at the Miami Foundation, and I'm joined by my fellow Community Grants core team members on our programs team, Valerie, Crum, and Alex Rosales, as well as we're joined by our colleague Julissa Rivera to provide us with some translation into Spanish for key pieces of the presentation. And she'll also stick around until the Q&A at the end of the session in case anyone would prefer to ask their questions in Spanish. And so we'll start by giving a brief introduction to our Community Grants program, and then we'll share more about eligibility requirements, what's new this year, the process to apply, as well as talk through reasoning behind the updates to this year's program. And we will then open it up towards the second half of the webinar for Q&A for anyone that would like clarifying questions about the program, the funding categories, or the Foundation's funding priorities. So just a quick housekeeping note. I know I'm starting to see some questions come into the chat already. So definitely keep them coming. And so we'll just be kind of collecting them as we go through. And we'll do our best to get everything answered by the end of the presentation. One quick note is that we do ask that we keep all questions relevant to the program more broadly, as opposed to asking specific questions in regard to your organization's application or work. And then just to reiterate, so we'll be recording this webinar and posting it to our website in case you need to come back to it.
Buenos días, un placer estar aquí con ustedes. Mi nombre es Julissa Rivera. Estaré aquí para dar resumen de puntos básicos en español al final de cada presentación. Estaré igual disponible al final de la presentación para responder cualquier pregunta o duda que venga en español.
Awesome. So I'm having a slight delay in switching over slides. There we go. Okay, perfect. So what is community grants? So Community Grants is our annual grant program made possible by generous donors who continue to build the program to be a permanent community resource to address Greater Miami's most pressing needs. This year, we hope to partner with nonprofits to help their organizations and our local residents recover from the multiple crises of 2020, innovate how they create progress, and adapt to new local solutions. This year, we will award $1.25 million through the program. The grants provide support to organizations that improve quality of life in 5 focused funding areas: access to health and wellness, economic stability, inclusion of people with diverse abilities, sustainable environment, and thriving youth and families.
Gracias, Chelsea. ¿Qué son las suspensiones comunitarias? Este año otorgaremos 1.25 millones a través de nuestras subvenciones comunitarias. Las subvenciones apoyarán a organizaciones en 5 categorías de financiación: acceso a la salud y el bienestar, estabilidad económica, inclusión de personas con diversas capacidades, medio ambiente sostenible y jóvenes y familias prósperas.
Thank you, Julissa. All right, and so who is eligible to apply? So organizations eligible for this program include those with 501c3 status or those that are fiscally sponsored by a 501c3 organization. In addition, the proposed work within the application must be primarily serving residents of Miami-Dade County. Your organization does not have to be headquartered in Miami-Dade County, but we encourage those based outside of the county to collaborate in partnership with local organizations.
Las organizaciones elegibles incluyen aquellas con estatus 501c3 o aquellas que estén patrocinadas fiscalmente por una organización 501c3. Debe presentar una solicitud con la programación relevante que atiende a los residentes del condado de Miami-Dade.
All right, so what's new this year? We have many exciting new updates to the program this year that we're eager to share. Towards the end of last year, our team met with local residents and community partners across the county to discuss the program and to get feedback from those whose organizations these grants were intended to support. We heard the feedback, and we have worked to put in place new guidelines and a new structure for this year's program in an effort to be as inclusive and as flexible as possible. So these specific updates include new and improved funding categories. For those that have applied to the program in the past, you'll notice that there have been some slight shifts in the categories and the type of work and issue areas that each is need to fund. And in addition, we increased our maximum grant award this year to $40,000 to better support entire initiatives rather than just funding only a portion. This year as well, so we're offering more flexible types of funding. This includes the option to select on your application, so within the idea stage on your application, you can select whether you would like to receive program-specific support or if you would prefer mission-building support to help your organization grow your capacity in order to better position the organization to achieve your goals. And so this year, we're also introducing the ideas stage. So in the past, we've included 2 full application stages for community grants. And this year, we've replaced the initial pre-proposal stage with what we're calling an ideas stage. The goal with this is to allow for a less time-intensive first step to be considered for funding. And then finally, this year we have some new program priorities. So this year, in an effort to be as transparent as possible, we have published our ideas stage evaluation metrics on our website to give applicants a deeper understanding of our priorities and the specific items we'll be looking for when we're reviewing applications. These are published on the community grants page on our website, and we recommend checking these out before beginning your application.
¿Qué hay de nuevo este año? Este año tendremos nuevas categorías de financiación, mayor tamaño máximo de la subvención a $40,000, tipo de financiación mucho más flexibles y una nueva etapa de ideas, más corta, que reemplaza la etapa de prepropuesta. Nuevas propiedades del programa también han sido añadidas este año.
Thank you, Julissa. Good morning, everyone. Valerie here. So as we all know, the multiple health and justice crises of 2020 and of today are redefining the future for our community. And we know that it is time for funders to meet this moment by reevaluating how our work can best serve Greater Miami, together with community members and partners like you. So as Chelsea just explained, we have shared new program priorities that apply across all of our funding categories. Our priorities guided how we updated this program, and they will also define how we hope to work together to strengthen our community, including through our processes and evaluation metrics. So we hope that as you move through the program this year, you will recognize our renewed focus on equity, on transparency and flexibility, and on local progress and sustainable solutions. So I will run through these program priorities that are described in our guidelines quickly, so we are all speaking the same language here. So again, as I mentioned, our central priority will be that through our community investments, we will be advancing equity of marginalized people and communities. This includes approaches that tackle disparities due to differences such as, but certainly not limited to, race, ethnicity, gender identity, and disability. As our guidelines explain, we will have particular attention on work that seeks to address Black racial equity and justice. Second, we will prioritize work that is focused on progress, meaning it is guided by meaningful indicators of growth and progress for people and communities, however they may define it. Results should also be timely and impactful. And third, we hope to encourage our partners to build toward real solutions. And while this may sound similar to progress, we're thinking here about the underlying barriers or challenges that systemically hold people or groups back from their potential. We believe that strong approaches will serve folks' immediate needs while also intending to address these larger barriers to set people up to achieve in the long term. Now, by no means do we think that everyone will have a groundbreaking solution, but we want to encourage awareness about tomorrow's needs and opportunities throughout all of our partners' work. Next, we value relationships with the people and communities that are affected by local issues and disparities. And we believe that they themselves are critical to inform and guide the most effective work and solutions. We encourage all of our partners to intentionally seek out community guidance or leadership throughout the course of a program or initiative, whether through consistent feedback loops, authentic relationships, or opportunities to really build local power. And finally, we care deeply about the health of our nonprofit community. And just as much as we are investing in your goals and ideas, we also want to support your organizational strength and expertise. So we will be looking for high quality work that is also viable for the organization itself by supporting or even expanding an organization's internal capacity.
Gracias, Valerie. Nuestras prioridades del programa este año son promover la equidad de las personas y comunidades marginadas, centrándose en el progreso, soluciones de construcción, colaborar con la comunidad y la sustentabilidad de nuestras organizaciones.
Thank you. So let's dig into some of the program details that I know you all are here today to see. So as mentioned before, our maximum grant size for this year is $40,000. We do not have a minimum grant award size, but we do anticipate that the average grant size will be between $20,000 to $30,000, purely depending on the scope of your work. When you apply to our idea stage, you will choose what type of funding will best support your work this year. I saw a question come through the chat. You do have to choose one type of funding, and we can work with you to figure out which would be best. Your choices would be program support for a specific area of work within your organization. This can be to continue or grow an existing program or line of work, or to start a new initiative. The other option for funding is mission building support for your organization, meaning that any awarded funds would be used to pursue your organization's mission and vision across all of your work. So please do note that we do not have a preference in funding one type of fund support or the other. We do recommend that you request the type of funding that will best work for your organization and your goals. Also, we want to be clear that we are open to funding a variety of work and strategies to achieve our goals together. We worked hard to expand our scope this year to consider, of course, direct services, but also advocacy efforts, community organizing, and partnerships that are working together to achieve outcomes. And I will add that staff costs are absolutely included here as well.
El monto máximo de la subvención este año será de $40,000. Los tipos de apoyo incluyen apoyo programático, específico o apoyo para el desarrollo de misiones para su organización, dependiendo de lo que permitirá tener la mejor oportunidad para lograr sus objetivos. Hemos abierto el alcance de la financiación este año para incluir no solo la programación de servicios directos, sino también los esfuerzos de promoción, la organización comunitaria y las colaboraciones entre organizaciones.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So as you know, community grants is made up of 5 funding categories that I will describe briefly. As always, more information can be found on our website, in our program guidelines, or by connecting with our team during office hours. So even if you have applied to the program before, I do recommend taking a closer look because some of these categories have changed this year. And also a quick note that any examples or possible strategies that I mention or that are shared in our guidelines are purely intended as examples. So if your work is not explicitly mentioned today, but it does align with the category and program goals, you are absolutely still encouraged to apply. So our first category is access to health and wellness. This is new this year. We're very excited to be launching this fund that is perhaps addressing one of the most critical needs in our community today. Our goal here is to improve inequitable health outcomes. And that might be by connecting people to quality health resources and education, by reducing health disparities, or tackling social determinants of health that can contribute to a person's health outcomes. Second is economic stability. With this fund, we are looking to meet local affordability challenges by helping residents secure affordable, stable housing, recover from financial crises, or increase their earning potential so that they can provide for themselves and their families. Third, we have the Inclusion of People with Diverse Abilities Fund, also lovingly known as the Inclusion Fund. This is a newer fund for us this year. Our goals are to expand opportunities for people with disabilities in our community to lead purposeful, productive lives and be increasingly integrated into all aspects of our community life here in Miami. As I mentioned, this is a newer fund for us, so I encourage you, if you are interested in this category, to check out the full summary of where our work may lead and the Inclusion Fund. It's available on our website. We're always happy to chat more because we're still learning about this one as well, and it's an exciting place to be. Fourth, sustainable environment. This is a category that we did update this year. Our refined goal is to develop a healthier, more livable community by preserving our unique environment here in Miami, by building resiliency amid climate change, or by expanding local awareness and stewardship so that residents can celebrate the incredible environment that we are lucky to have here. And finally, our largest fund, Thriving Youth and Families, seeks to expand opportunities for youth to excel from early childhood to career. So if you are working with college students or 20-year-olds all the way through to toddlers, absolutely, you are encouraged to apply to this fund. Strategies may include access to high-quality education, enrichment experiences, or work that ensures their safety and stability. And this can include support for adult caregivers so the whole family can thrive. And I also want to note here for our arts and culture organizations through this category, we are absolutely open to approaches that include creative expression as a strategy to advance youth development. Great questions I see coming through the chat, and we will get through them at the end, I'm sure, but I want to quickly say you can only submit one application. So when I'm describing these categories, we definitely want to be considering where your work or where your organization best fits in one of these. We can only accept one per organization. So again, we're always excited to chat with you about the category that best fits your organization's goals and purpose for applying to this program. If you do select a category that may not be the ideal fit, not to worry. We will work with you to consider transferring your application if you would be a more competitive applicant in a different category. We know it's a new program this year, so we're going to be as flexible as possible as we learn about these funds together.
Categorías de financiación para este año: acceso a salud y bienestar, estabilidad económica, inclusión de personas con capacidades diversas, medio ambiente sostenible, jóvenes y familias prósperas. Si no está seguro de cuál categoría se alineará a su aplicación, les recomendamos que se registre en el horario de oficina con nuestro equipo para ayudarlo a determinar esto. Estamos para servirles.
Thank you so much, team. Hi, everyone. Alex Rosales, and I'm here to talk about the online application. Given the competitive nature of this grant program, we allow one proposal per organization to be considered. For collaborations between multiple organizations, the partnership selects one nonprofit to serve as the lead applicant for the partnership. Any awarded funds are to be used for the sole purpose of the partnership's work, and the lead applicant is responsible for managing the funds on behalf of the partners. The lead applicant may also submit a separate individual application for its own work. Of course, for colleges and universities, up to 3 applications can be submitted for consideration, as long as they're coming from different departments or colleges.
Aplicaciones. Se concederá una solicitud por organización. Para colaboraciones con varias organizaciones, una organización debe optar por postularse como el solicitante principal. El solicitante principal también puede presentar una solicitud individual separada para su propio trabajo. Para colegios y universidades, se aceptarán hasta 3 solicitudes, siempre que provengan de diferentes departamentos o colegios.
All right, here's the idea stage process. Community grants is a 2-stage process. First, we have the initial idea stage and the full proposal stage. The highest potential applicants to the idea stage, and those that align most with our program priorities, will be invited to submit full proposals. As you know, the idea stage is currently accepting applications through our online portal, and the submission deadline is Friday, February 26th at 4 p.m. Applications submitted past 4 p.m. deadline will not be accepted. But remember, the link to our online application portal can be found on our website. We recommend always checking out the application worksheet available on our website that reviews each part of the application so you know exactly what information you will need to apply. In summary, the first part of the application will ask you to complete your organization's basic profile information, including if you would like to request program or mission building support. The second part will ask that you answer our 2 central questions. What is the problem or opportunity that you seek to address? And what do you seek to achieve or change in response? Our new optional feature this year is that organizations are able to upload supplemental information, such as videos, photos, brief reports, news articles, or anything else that conveys your work in other ways. Again, this is totally optional and not required, but we added it as a way to allow more flexible conveyance of your work, of your organization beyond just the written application.
Ronda de ideas. Las ideas de la primera ronda deben entregarse antes del viernes 26 de febrero a las 4 de la tarde. Dentro de la aplicación, seleccionará una categoría de financiamiento y el tipo de financiamiento que está solicitando. Completarás 2 partes. información de perfil básica sobre su organización, un resumen de lo que busca hacer, más cómo se conecta con las prioridades de nuestras subvenciones comunitarias. Una sección muy opcional incluye información complementaria que puede agregar a su solicitud escrita para poder transmitir mejor su trabajo.
All right, next slide about the idea stage review process. All idea stage applications, this is the first round, will be reviewed internally by staff at the Miami Foundation. For this process, we have a diverse team of reviewers across all of our departments to bring together as many different perspectives as possible as we review each application. Each funding category will have 3 to 4 designated staff reviewers rating applications and inviting applicants to the second round full proposal stage. As mentioned before, the exact review criteria and metrics that our reviewers will use to evaluate the idea stage applications are available on the website. We recommend checking this out before completing your application to get a sense of what reviewers will be looking for in your application.
Las métricas de revisión para las aplicaciones de la etapa de idea se pueden encontrar en nuestra página web www.miamifoundation.org. Recomendamos revisarlas antes de presentar la solicitud. Todas las ideas serán revisadas internamente por el personal de Miami Foundation durante la primera ronda. Contamos con un equipo diverso de revisores en todos los departamentos que aportan perspectivas únicas para completar la revisión de cada aplicación.
And finally, our full proposal stage. Organizations will receive notification about whether they have been selected to move onto the second round full proposals by March 26. At this time, the invited organizations will receive the full proposal questions and guidelines to help complete the application. All full proposal applications are due by April 21. The full proposal applications will be reviewed by community review committees for each of the funding categories. After the full proposal round, if your organization has been selected to receive a grant, you will receive a notification of the award by the first week of June.
Las invitaciones para presentar una propuesta completa se enviarán a las organizaciones seleccionadas antes del 26 de marzo. En este momento, las organizaciones recibirán las preguntas y directrices de la propuesta completa. Todas las solicitudes de propuestas completas deben presentarse antes del 21 de abril. Las solicitudes de propuestas completas serán revisadas por comités de revisión de la comunidad. Si su organización es seleccionada para recibir una subvención, recibirá notificación de la subvención antes de la primera semana de junio.
Awesome. Thank you so much to everyone. So just want to quickly run through all of the key dates just to make sure that everyone has them on their radar. So for this first ideas stage that we're currently in, the deadline to submit your applications on our website is February 26th by 4 p.m. And then for the full proposal stage, the invitations will go out to all organizations, notifying them that they are moving on to the second round by March 26th. And then for those that are invited, the deadline to submit is April 21st. We aim to get all award notifications out by early June, with the grant period taking place from June 1st of this year through May 31st of next year. So it'll be a 1-year grant period.
Fechas importantes. Etapa de idea, la fecha límite es el 26 de febrero a las 4 de la tarde. Etapa de propuesta completa. Las invitaciones a las organizaciones se enviarán antes del 26 de marzo y la fecha límite para presentar una solicitud de propuesta completa es el 21 de abril. Los premios se anunciarán a principios de junio. Periodo de concesión será 1 de junio de 2021 a 31 de mayo de 2022.
And then just wanted to give a few links as well. So for more information, including our program guidelines, some of the documents that were mentioned throughout the presentation, as well as the link to apply, it can be found at miamifoundation.org/community grants. As well as, if you have more specific questions about your application or your organization, definitely feel free to sign up to speak to our team at office hours. The link can also be found on our community grants page website. And then for any other additional questions that you may have, feel free to reach out to Valerie at her email, which is vcrum@miamifoundation.org. All right, so now at this time, we're gonna open it up for questions. So I'm gonna be kind of looking through the chat here to make sure that we're trying to cover all of our bases and posing questions to the team. Let me see what we have here. So I know that there are some comments about people not being able to join. We're having a few technical difficulties as far as the capacity, but just to definitely want to reassure everyone that this is being recorded. So we'll definitely be posting it to our website after. Okay, so first question, does the size of the organization or length of time it's been established affect the application? And so I will pitch that over to Alex.
Hi there. The organization size does not matter for purposes of the idea stage. We welcome all ideas from 501c3 nonprofits, small, medium, large, just as long as the scope of work is related to work done in Greater Miami or program expanding into Greater Miami. We, of course, welcome all ideas at this stage.
Perfect, thank you. So next question, can you apply with a combination of program and mission building funding? So I'll push that to Valerie.
Thank you. So you do need to choose one, either program support or mission building support. But because our funding is flexible, meaning that we will not be requesting specific line item budgets from folks, we will be able to work with you, I think, to pick whichever one would best support your goals. So I would encourage that individual to sign up for office hours or shoot me an email and we can figure out what would work best.
Perfect. All right, so next question, if we apply for the maximum, will we be able to get any part of the 40,000 if the committee approves us, or is it all or one? I'll send that over to Alex.
Thank you. So of course, the maximum that an organization can request is 40,000. This does not guarantee that committees will agree to the full 40,000, but if the idea is sound and aligns with the priorities and the committee does agree to support it, funding is guaranteed for at least a partial of the request.
Perfect. So next question to Valerie, does the grant have a timeline?
Such a great question. So if you hear nothing else today, our community grants, you must apply by February 26th at 4 p.m. It's a two-stage process, but to be considered, you do have to apply to this first stage, the idea stage. In terms of the rest of the program timeline, as Chelsea shared earlier, you can look back at the slides. We would be inviting folks to submit full proposals in March, and then looking to announce grant awards by the first week in June.
Perfect. And then to Alex, does the youth programming have to have a specific focus?
So for the Thriving Youth and Families category, we welcome all ideas that relate to programming or mission to serve children, all the way to college-age youth, all the way to arts and creative projects, anything basically that focuses on advancing the interest, the progress, and good cause of youth in Greater Miami.
Thank you. And to Valerie, what is the average size of the grants?
Another great question. So we anticipate that the average size grants will be $20,000 to $30,000. But again, we encourage all organizations to apply for the amount of funding up to $40,000 that makes sense for you and will best support your work. If we need to consider a partial fund option, just given our limited resources, we would absolutely have that conversation with you and see if that would still support your work.
Wonderful. And so I'm scrolling through, looks like the next question is, will you support projects or programs that you have supported in the past? And also not to Alex.
Thank you. So we will always consider continued projects and programs that you have. We're always welcome to seeing what sort of innovation, what sort of new ideas you have for existing programs, but certainly we will consider expanding and supporting your current mission, your current programs, and of course your current focus, so long as it aligns with the programs and the committees are invested in the idea.
Wonderful. So to Valerie, this question is asking, can you please explain the grant period? Do you mean that we'll have 1 year to receive the funds after your application has been accepted for funding?
Got it. So our grant period refers to the period of time that we would have already released the funding to you and that you would have to spend out the dollars. So for example, you would, if you were selected, you would receive notification of your award that first week in June. We would sign a grant agreement and we would disperse the funds to you. We would expect that those dollars would be spent out throughout that year. So by the end of May 2022. Hopefully that answers your question.
Aquí hay una pregunta en español y con mucho gusto pues la voy a leer. Dice, este es el primer año que vamos a presentar un grant. ¿Podemos comunicarnos con el support team para saber si estamos en el camino correcto? Sí, por favor, definitivamente visite nuestra página web y se registra para horas de oficina que con mucho gusto el equipo la va a asistir.
All right, so next question, I'm going to send this over to Alex. Would animal welfare be considered under the sustainable environment area?
It's a great question. Thank you for that. So animals are part of our fragile ecosystem and certainly do come with us to our office hour opportunities. The reason I ask this is because every idea is unique to each organization. And while animals are related to our sustainable environment, I think the focus here would be on the goals, on the vision and the mission of the organization and how animal welfare will be used to advance the priorities that we have outlined in the guidelines. So simply put, it really depends.
Perfect. And so for the next question, I need assistance to put my application together and recommendations. So for this one, definitely do recommend that you sign up for one of our office hours with our core team members. As well as, feel free to reach out to us directly, send us an email with any questions that you may have, and we're happy to help you put that together. Okay, and so next question to Valerie. So under these 5 categories, where would a food distribution service apply under these categories?
Love this question. So I don't want to copy Alex's answer and say it depends, but it certainly does depend a little bit on what your goals are with the food distribution. We would be happy to chat with you all more, but I do know that in the past, we have certainly recognized that food and food access can be a social determinant of health. So I know we have supported food access work through our healthcare funds. So would encourage you to think about that, but also you could be, your goal could be to feed children and families, and that might be really critical, or certainly is critical to the health and well-being of our kids in Miami. So take a look at the guidelines, and I'd love to have a conversation to dig into that a little deeper.
Thank you. So next question to Alex, is year-round programming preferred, or can the funding be for a summer program?
Thank you for that. I think the main priorities and what we've outlined will focus on the program's ability to address underlying barriers that we discussed earlier in the webinar, as well as the paying attention to the progress, the sustainability, the level of collaboration. All of this can be really inherent to a summer program or a year-round program. It really depends on your goals again, and the vision that you have, and of course, whether it's programmatic support or mission building support.
All right, and next question to Valerie. Can this grant be also used to offer scholarship to college students?
So as I mentioned, we do have flexible funding, so we are open to supporting whatever you say will be the best use of your funds within to achieve your goals and within your organization's work. I will say we do have a few small funding restrictions placed on our dollars by the IRS. So I would encourage you to check those out, and we would have to ensure that your scholarship program is in line with that, because there are some restrictions about what kind of direct funding to individuals that we can make. And we can have a more in-depth conversation about that if you would like to reach out.
Perfect. And to Alex, the next question is, can I still apply if I have arts and culture programming, but if I don't fit within the youth category?
Thank you for that. So for the moment, we do accept arts and culture ideas, but they do have to fit alongside our Thriving Youth and Families category. So this arts and culture project or program or general mission has to advance some kind of inclusion of youth, either from cradle to career, and of course has to be within Greater Miami.
And I will add to that if your arts and culture organization is perhaps addressing one of the other funds goals, perhaps you are celebrating and creating new stewards of the environment through the arts. Absolutely, we appreciate the creative expression as an approach that could be used to achieve those goals as well. So I would encourage you to think about those options as well.
Thank you.
Okay, and so next question to Valerie. What kind of information will be requested for mission building grant reports?
Great question. So for mission building support, we are interested in the goals and progress of your entire organization. So investing in your mission, your vision. So in part, what we would be requesting is really dependent on how you want to use those dollars. Perhaps you're hiring an individual to add some boosts to your team, but we would be looking at your organization's impact across all of your work and how you're achieving your goals as an organization throughout Miami-Dade County. Hopefully that gives you some clarity.
Awesome. So we have another question. Can my organization apply to more than one category? I'll send it over to Alex.
So at the moment, we are only considering one category per organization. There are exceptions with colleges and universities that can apply for different funding categories so long as it does not exceed 3 proposals. And then, of course, lead applicants involved in other partnership-based proposals can apply under different categories as well.
Right, and to Valerie, does the review committee have a preference on funding program support versus operational support?
We have no preference. You will receive the same questions on your application, whether you choose program support or mission building support. We will consider them equally. We're excited to offer these options. We, again, do not have a preference. And your reporting questions as well would be the same.
All right, and so I see a couple of questions in here. By Greater Miami, do you mean Miami-Dade County? And yes, so definitely want to be inclusive of all parts of the county, wherever your program is most relevant and fits best. And the next question, do you have a recommendation to find a grant writer? So for any of these types of questions, definitely feel free to reach out to us directly, and we're happy to put you in contact with someone or just give you more information more broadly. Next question to Alex, are there multi-year funding opportunities?
At the moment, we do not have multi-year funding opportunities. This is something that is probably in conversation more so for a later period, but for this particular opportunity, we have limited it to just a 1-year grant period.
Perfect. And the next question coming in, will this reporting be available? Yes, yep. So definitely apologize for the technical issues and the capacity issues. I think we're capped at 100 people right now. But yeah, definitely this recording will be available on our website within the next couple of days. This is to Valerie. Can I use my 2019 tax documents to apply? My 2020 tax documents are not ready.
Sure. So I might need to have a separate conversation with this individual to make sure that I understand your question, but briefly, we are not requesting audits, anything like that throughout our process. But if you're referring to, say, your 501c3 active certification through the IRS, we will need it to be an active 501c3 by the time of the application deadline on February 26th. So depending on what you're referring to here, we can chat through that. But in the application, again, we are not requiring audits. We would be looking up your 990, but we know that 2020 tax documents may not be ready on time. Absolutely not a problem.
And also just to add some additional information about that, if your organization is looking to be fiscally sponsored by a 501c3, it must have an established agreement by the deadline of February 26th to be considered.
Perfect. Thank you both. So it looks like we're towards the end of questions. Oh, another one just came in. Do I need to submit operation budget information? And I will send that to Alex.
Sorry about that. So for the moment, in the idea stage, we do ask for the organization's budget number, but we do not require an actual document for the moment. For the full proposal stage, we will likely ask for more of a deeper dive into the budget and the organization's overall budget.
All right, so it looks like we're just about out of questions. We'll stay on for another minute or two if anyone has anything else they'd like to ask. I'm just going to quickly go back through and make sure that we didn't miss any.
While Chelsea is checking through our Q&A, if you do have any other questions, please do stick around. If not, if you want to get to your Friday, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend. We're really excited to have this much interest. We might have broken Zoom, so thanks for sticking with us through the technical issues. We are excited to see your applications, and again, we are here to talk. If anything else comes up, we look forward to your application by February 26th. Thanks, everyone.
I do want to address the question from Amy. We have a community grant that ends the May 31st of this. Can we apply for this one? Absolutely, since this one would be for a different grant period.
Awesome. Well, it looks like we're ready to wrap up. I don't really see any more questions coming into the chat. So yeah, definitely, as Valerie mentioned, want to thank everyone so much for joining us. We're so excited about this year's program. And definitely as more questions come up, if you have any other specific information you're needing as you're filling out your application, definitely feel free to either sign up for office hours or shoot us a quick email as well. And we're happy to set up a call. All right. Thank you so much to all the panelists as well, and to Julissa for being our translation guru. It's definitely helpful.